and welcome back to a third video of sprouts and microgreens. We're covering a few basic concepts and ideas of why we want to take control of the foods that we eat and avoid processed foods as much as possible. We already covered what are organic versus not organic and GMOs. Now we're going to talk about processed foods. Most of the food that we buy in the supermarket are processed foods. Those that are not are mostly non-organic, but most of it are processed food. Everything that we eat has somehow been prepared or processed in a factory and packed ready for consumption. And they have been filled with ingredients such as sugar, salt, fats, not to mention preservatives and many other chemicals that we don't even know what it is. The truth is that our bodies are not meant to consume such huge amount of sugars, salts, fats, or any kind of preservatives at all, much less chemicals or additives that make it taste good, but in reality is actually bad for us. So one of the concepts that I was taught is that when we read the ingredients of any product at the supermarket, if there's any ingredient that we cannot pronounce, we should not be eating it because it's not natural. We want to keep it as natural and as simple as possible. That's why all these foods that we see, especially those that are rich in sugar, which is most of the foods that we find in the supermarket. And when I mean sugar, it can be any form of sugar. High fructose corn syrup, honey, sugar cane, whatever. Any sugars in general are very bad. And we'll cover sugar or sugars in a future video. But we want to avoid any form of processed foods. And those are the ones that are creating our illness. Well, that's why people are being so sick nowadays. It's because the foods have been processed with all these different ingredients and additives and preservatives that our bodies are not meant to handle. Consider this. If you see, and you've probably seen in the United States, in the supermarkets, there's usually a small health section or healthy food section. Well, if that section has healthy food, why does it make the rest of the supermarket unhealthy food? Yeah. So that's something to consider. That's why we want to try to eat organic, non-GMO food raw if possible. Now we can cook it as well, and we want to keep it low in salt and sugars and fats and other things, but we definitely want to keep it very low in processed foods. Now, when it comes to meats, we have to consider this. Meat can be good, but the meat, commercially grown meat, as we know it, poultry or beef or any kind of meat, has been filled with antibiotics, growth hormones, and not to mention that they have been fed GMO grains that make them even fatter. So guess what happens when we eat a beautiful juicy steak that comes from a commercially grown farm where the animal has been fed all these GMO grains that they normally wouldn't eat, that make it even fatter, and have been given antibiotics plus growth hormones, and we eat this delicious steak and we're getting fatter and fatter. That's why we want to go back to the basic. That's why the same food that will make us sick and will make us fat, if we change the food, we can heal ourselves, we can lose the weight, and we can be healthy. It all depends on what we eat, and the secret is avoiding processed foods as much as possible. Going back to the basic non-GMO organic foods and try to eat them raw. We're going to continue with our videos. Thank you for watching.